I just got back from seeing Wicked in theaters, a movie based off of the book and musical about a misunderstood witch and a popular girl who become best friends after meeting the Wizard of Oz. I was so excited to see Wicked that I got every Wizard of Oz thing that I could possibly find. I saw Wicked in 3D and I had a ton of fun seeing it. It was everything I wanted it to be, from the story to the characters to the ending. I didn't know this was part 1. I cannot wait for part 2 to release because this movie was absolutely amazing. Part 2 is actually already recorded and ready to be released, but it's not releasing until November 21st of next year, but it's going to be worth the wait. The cast of this movie did an amazing job. Jeff Goldblum as the wizard was perfect. I enjoyed that a lot. Ariana Grande as Glinda, Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, they all did an amazing job. I was a little worried about Ariana Grande being Glinda, but she did a really good job, and she was very funny and made me laugh a lot. The movie and everything looked amazing. If you didn't know, they actually built Munchkinland, they built the Emerald City, they actually built the train and planted 2 million flowers for this movie. Starting off with things that I enjoyed about Wicked is the music. The music stood out to me the most. It was beautiful, stunning, magical. It made me want to get up and dance and sing along. And everything about the music and songs were great. I listened to the music all day, every day. If you're not going to go see this movie, at least listen to a couple of the songs. The music made me even cry a couple of times. There's a lot of teasers in these songs that hint at what's going to happen in part 2. The music was definitely my favorite part about Wicked. Moving on to the story, I really did like it a lot. It's the same as the musical, and it really is more than just a misunderstood witch. And with the talking animals and what happens to them, really got me glued to the story because I didn't know that happened in The Wizard of Oz. The story does a wonderful job with showing, is somebody born evil or are they made evil? There's a lot of interesting things for the Wizard of Oz universe there that I was like, this is what I wanted to see. There's a Munchkinland, there's a wizard, there's talking animals, and Wicked dives deeper into some of that stuff. And honestly, that was my favorite part of the story. And I can't wait to see the story for Wicked Part 2 with what happens to Dorothy, how did she get here, what happens to the animals, and where's Elphaba? Not only am I excited for the Wicked Part 2 story, but I'm really excited to see Dorothy, the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. In Wicked Part 2, I hope that they tell us if Dorothy going to see the wizard was a dream or not, because ever since the first Wizard of Oz movie released, we haven't known if it was a dream or did she actually go with the Tin Man, Cowardly Lion, and Scarecrow to meet the wizard. I think that would be very interesting to see in Wicked Part 2, and it may even change the story of the Wizard of Oz. I hope we see how the Tin Man and Scarecrow become who they are in Wicked Part 2. I think that would be really cool. Moving on to the ending of this movie, I am very satisfied with the way this movie ended. It definitely ended like a part 1 type of movie, and it was just a bunch of crazy stuff for the last hour of the movie. It was so much fun. The last song was Defying Gravity, and that was perfect for the end of this movie. At the end of the movie, we get the flying monkeys. Elphaba gets her broom. She learns how to fly with it. And it's just a bunch of other fun and crazy things. The ending was definitely the best part. The song Defying Gravity and the ending of Wicked, Cynthia Erivo did an absolutely outstanding job with being Elphaba. I was sitting there crying because it was just so good. Moving on to things that I did not like about Wicked, there's really not that much that I didn't like about this movie. I loved everything about this movie. The only thing I would change is having the wizard in the movie for just a little bit longer. He was in the movie for around 20 minutes long, 25 minutes. I would have liked to see just a little bit more of him because I thought he was really cool. But I guess the wizard is for the second movie, which makes sense. We're going to learn way more about the wizard and everybody else. So I am excited to see the wizard in part 2. Another thing that I would have really liked to see in Wicked Part 1 is more of the talking animals, since they do play a huge part in the Wicked story. They really didn't play a huge part in part 1. They just talked about, how they can talk and their story of what people are trying to do to them. I guess they are going to talk more about them in part 2 and have them show up more, which I cannot wait for since I really did like the animals. Those are my only negatives for Wicked, and they really don't affect the movie because those characters are going to be playing a bigger part in part 2, so it doesn't really affect my rating for this movie. I really did enjoy seeing Wicked in the theaters, especially in 3D. I had an amazing time, and it was so much fun. Overall, the music, the story, the characters, and the ending of this movie, it was amazing. It was a masterpiece, and this is only part 1. I cannot wait to see how good part 2 is. Altogether, I'm going to give Wicked an 11 out of 10. This movie is definitely one of the best movies of the year. The movie was outstanding. Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, and Jeff Goldblum, everybody did an amazing job. I'm definitely going to see Wicked Part 2 in theaters once it releases, only in theaters, November 21st, 2025. Wicked was definitely worth the wait. I love this movie a lot. And it's safe to say, I guess I'm a Wicked fan now.